Hi everyone, welcome to our Friday video. We're super excited because this is the first time that we have brought on a guest speaker with us for this series. This is Gail Knight. She is a good friend of ours. She lives in Casper, Wyoming with her husband of 30 years and their adult daughter with autism. Gail has been on a personal health journey for over 20 years now. She has fought all the major metabolic diseases of our time, which led her to seek out training in nutrition from the Nutritional Therapy Association, for which she graduated with her functional nutritional therapy practitioner designation. So that's a really big deal. She has studied advanced blood markers, gastrointestinal healing, and mastery in organic acids. And she is a member of the Pastoral Medical Association and serves her clients from a godly perspective, which here at Health with Hallie, we're all about that. So anyway, today we're continuing the talks on stress, and we are going to be talking about how stress affects the body and why we should all work to reduce stress or practice managing it, our responses to it, kind of what we've been talking, but I'm excited for Gail to kind of share her insights and her wisdom on that topic. We know that good digestion is kind of the foundation of our health. Can you talk to us a little bit about what effects stress has on our digestion?
So there's two sides to your autonomic nervous system. There's the rest and digest, which is called your parasympathetic, and then there's the fight or flight, which is called the sympathetic. When we are in fight or flight, our body will shut down digestion. It completely deprioritizes it. It says, I need to run away from this stressor, this lion who's going to eat me, and I don't really need to worry about breaking down that food for assimilation or digestion or elimination right now. So our peristalsis, the movement of our stomach, the movement of our intestines, all slow down very much. The gastric juices that are necessary to break down your food so that they're in a really absorbable way for your small intestine just don't happen. Your body has trouble then assimilating the food. So let's say you spend half of your day really stressed because you're in traffic or you're in meetings and you were eating while you were driving, because all of us do it. That food finally, towards the end of the day, makes it into your small intestine. Well, it wasn't adequately broken down. It wasn't in the right pH, and the pieces are all too big. Well, those big pieces, they harm the lining of your small intestine, and what happens then is those little villi, which I think of like vacuum cleaners, like circular, like a straw sucking up the nutrients, catches these big pieces of food and blocks the villi from working, and the villi dies. And so instead of having really tight junctions in your small intestine, your villi die off and the junctions become leak, or the barrier becomes penetrable. And so then all those big pieces of food, they go into your bloodstream, which makes your immune system freak out. What doesn't get into your bloodstream the way that it should, or go through the leaky barrier, will go onto your large intestine, and those big pieces just can't be broken down by your microbiome, which is your second brain. And so you aren't able to keep the microbiome healthy, and because of that, you can be more susceptible to illness. And then your body has to figure out how to get this to move along. So either it was in transit too long and your body takes all the water out and you can't pass it because it's really hard, or your body will just, bring in a whole bunch of water just to get rid of it. And sometimes then you can see your food wasn't adequately digested.
Right.
All because of stress.
I was just going to say all that because of stress. Yeah, that's crazy. So, okay, with that, in this world of massive sugar consumption, I know we're going to be talking a little bit more about that coming up, but we know kind of eating sugar causes inflammation, which is also a stressor to the body. So how does having regular high levels of stress affect how our body regulates our blood sugar?
So you have three organs or organelles that are responsible for managing your blood sugar. So your adrenal glands that are on the top of your kidneys, your hypothalamus, which is in your brain, and then also your pituitary gland. So you've heard probably people say the HPA axis. It's basically the communication between that entire system. So when we get stressed out or we're worried, or even if we sit down to eat but we're in a fight with our loved ones, our endocrine system, our HP axis says you're in trouble, because our bodies can't tell the difference between trouble where you're actually running from a predator, or difference between you can't stop thinking the same worrying thoughts over and over again, and so your body has the same response, the same chronic stress response. The longer you live in that chronic stress response, easier your body just flips a switch. Okay, now we've got fight or flight. Now we got to pull blood sugar from the stored resources in our body to flood the system, so that when she runs away, that she has the fuel to do so. When all that sugar comes in, then your hypothalamus senses all the sugar and tells your pancreas, hey, let's release a bunch of insulin, because insulin is our storage hormone that helps us store it away. Insulin is also very inflammatory. So you get this big spike of blood sugar, you get this big insulin spike. Insulin puts the sugar away, and sometimes it puts too much sugar away. And when it does that, then you feel shaky, you get super hangry, you're like feeling like you have to sit down or something, get some sugar. And what happens is then we end up with something like reactive hyperglycemia, hypoglycemia, low blood sugar. And we go to something like caffeine or to sugar again to do the same thing, except when the big bolus of sugar or caffeine comes in, it's considered another stressor, which perpetuates the fight or flight. So it's almost impossible to manage your blood sugar adequately so that it has nice hills when you eat and little valleys when you're between, when you have a big stress response, even from something like having an argument while you're having dinner. It can also cause insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome like type 2 diabetes, and hormonal imbalances from having these blood sugar spikes, insulin spikes, and reactive hypoglycemia.
Yeah. Wow.
So crazy, right? Yeah.
Yes, that's crazy. So in reading about kind of regulating blood sugar, things like this, we know that good fats are kind of an essential part to help our body's absorption of that. Can you tell us a little bit about what effects stress has on the balance of the fatty acids in our body?
Well, digestion of fat takes a number of chemicals. So it takes bile from the liver to be able to break down the fat so that it can, and then it takes pancreatic enzyme, pancreatic lipase, also to break down the fat. And if it doesn't get broken down adequately, because again, we're stressed and running away from the stressor, then fat can clog our lymphatic system, which can really stress your liver. Also, your bile that's necessary to make fat absorbable is made out of fat. Mm-hmm. So if you can think about how, you aren't getting adequate fat because you can't digest it, and then your liver, when your liver works to get rid of toxins, so like your hormones run around your body, and whenever they're used up, they have to go to the liver to get conjugated so that the body will be okay to let those used up estrogens leave. When that happens, it goes through the bile. Well, if the bile isn't adequate because there's no good fat to make it, or if it's really sluggish because maybe you don't eat any fat, then those toxins can't leave the liver, which also really is harmful to the liver. So we really need good quality fats that are handled in the right way so that we can make good quality bile, so that we can absorb our good quality fats. It's kind of a circle. And then also so we can make sure that our liver and our lymphatic system aren't completely clogged up because we don't have those adequate fats.
Right. Okay, next I want to ask you I want to talk about minerals. Can you share with us about how stress impacts our mineral balance in the body?
So minerals are the spark plugs of the human body, and stress works to throw them out. So when you're really stressed, Our body will throw out magnesium faster than anything. Without magnesium to help our muscles relax, you end up getting, muscle aches and spasm and cramp. You can lose your bone density because your body needs calcium to help regulate the pH of your blood. If the pH is not held within tight control, like between 7.35 and 7.45, you would die. If you aren't digesting your food, if your stomach acid isn't high enough, you can't absorb your minerals. So you aren't putting any of them in. And so your body has to get them from your bones. So they'll get busy breaking down your bones to create minerals so that it can keep your pH level so you'll live. So your body will steal minerals from the bones at the price to keep you alive, which seems like a good thing. But instead, we really need to be working on getting minerals into our day by eating whole, real foods, even some raw foods that haven't been cooked. We need to work on making sure our stomach environment is right and that we're eating in a rested state. And then good quality mineralized water can help us buy back some of the loss from stress, because we can't avoid stress. We're going to have it.
Yes, I think it would be important to give some practical tips of how our audience can kind of step out of the cycle of perpetual stress into a healthier, balanced place. And so here we kind of focus on just simple steps over time that people can use to kind of, implement this information into their life. So Gail, what are some of your favorite tips that you can offer to help?
Some really good ones are to stop overthinking. You can be in fight or flight just by continually worrying about something. And I can just tell you that worry about something has never actually changed an outcome for the good. So worry is a waste of time and energy. I would suggest that if you've got things in your mind you keep checking off because you're worried about forgetting them, make yourself a list, talk on your phone and put a list and then forget about it. I also like to find a place to unplug. So no technology, no phones, no TV. I love to read, and so I'll find a good book and I'll sit. And you don't have to do it like hours and hours, but like 20 minutes in a day where you aren't being pulled or responsible for something or thinking. Just do something you love. Another really fun one that you can do anytime and no one would even know you're doing it is to breathe in for 8 seconds. So you're breathing in and count until 8. Hold it for 4. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then breathe out for 8 seconds. And do that like 10 times when you feel something crazy coming on, and it will completely help you. If you're feeling run down in the afternoon, instead of going to stimulants, take a walk around your building at work, or do some squats behind your desk, or call somebody that you really love and cares for you, and just have a meaningful conversation. Play with children, or little animals, just anything that you can do to stop yourself from perpetuating the cycle by putting in caffeine and sugar, which again is going to make it worse and not better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that you said that. I think all too often we don't leverage those relationships enough. Okay,
Exactly.
Well, Gail, thank you so much for being on with us today. I learned a lot and really appreciate your time. And I just loved having you on. I think it's so special what you're doing for people, and I love that we have this similar connection over nutrition. And so I just want to say thank you, and I hope that you will join us again in the future, and we can just continue learning more from you. So thanks for being on today.
Yeah, thank you for what you're doing too. All of us need to be out there. There's just so many people who don't understand even just the basics, and just a little bit of knowledge and then the wherewithal to put it into practice. People can really feel good, not just kind of okay and maybe not sick, but really feel good, vibrant and happy and joyful. And that's what we're really made for.
Yeah.
If we just get out of our own way.
We forget the whole wellness aspect of our whole body, like the communication of what we eat and how we feel and what's possible. And it's amazing how life is just not the same anymore when you feel your best. And there's so much more becomes possible for you. We spend so much time, just like you were saying, like even stress and overthinking alone affects our body so much more than you would ever know. And so,
Yes.
yeah, I'm really appreciative that you took the time to share that with us today. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, next week we will be on again, continuing our talks with stress. So we hope to see you. Thank you guys for tuning in with us, and we will see you next week.